human beings.
Namaste Dandavat
Namaste, Dr. Suhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Namaste, Pradhanji. So this is okay. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. Purport. There is nothing comparable to the bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. When he was present in this world, the most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of the bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And this was certified by the demigods, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The demigods thought that Lord Kṛṣṇa, like themselves, was also created by Brahma, but in fact, Brahma was created by Lord Kṛṣṇa. It was not within the power of Brahma to create the transcendental beauty of the Supreme Lord. No one is the creator of Kṛṣṇa, rather he is the creator of everyone. As he says in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Text 14. Yasyanuraga pluto hasarasa Lilabhaloka pratilabdhamana Rajastriyo drigbir anu pravritta Diyovatstuha kila krityasesha. The damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Kṛṣṇa left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. Purport. In his boyhood at Vrindavan, Lord Kṛṣṇa was notorious as a teasing friend and transcendental love to all the girls his age. His love for them was so intense that there is no comparison to that ecstasy. And the damsels of Vraja were so much attached to him that their affection excelled that of the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. Lord Kṛṣṇa finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of the gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed devotion. Although the gopis were seemingly anguished by the Lord's teasing behavior, when Kṛṣṇa would leave them, they could not tolerate the separation and used to follow him with their eyes and minds. They were so stunned by the situation that they could not finish their household duties. No one could excel him, even in the loving exchange between boys and girls. It is said in the revealed scriptures that Lord Kṛṣṇa personally never goes beyond the boundary of Vrindavan. He remains there eternally because of the transcendental love of the inhabitants. Thus, even though he is not visible at present, he is not away from Vrindavan for a moment. Text 15. Svashantarupeshvitarai svarupar abhyarhadyamhanishvanu kampitatma Aravarisho mahad amsayukto yajopi jato bhagavanyatagni. Personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahat Tattva. Purport. The devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful because they have no material hankering. A liberated soul has no hankering and therefore he has no lamentation. One who wants to possess also laments, and when he loses his possession, also laments when he loses the possession. Devotees have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty, and they do not mind where they are, or how they have to act. Karmis, jnanis, and yogis all hanker to possess some material or spiritual assets. Karmis want material possessions, jnanis and yogis want spiritual possessions. But devotees don't want any material or spiritual assets. They want only to serve the Lord anywhere in the material or spiritual worlds that the Lord desires. And the Lord is always specifically compassionate towards such devotees. The karmis, jnanis, and yogis have their particular mentalities in the modes of nature, and therefore they are called itara, or non-devotees. These itaras, including even the yogis, sometimes harass the devotees of the Lord. Durvasa Muni, a great yogi, harassed Maharaj Ambarish because the latter was a great devotee of the Lord. And the great karmi and jnani Hiranyakashipu even harassed his own Vaishnav son, Prahlad Maharaj. There are many instances of such harassment of the peaceful devotees of the Lord by the itaras. When such friction takes place, the Lord, out of his great compassion towards his pure devotees, appears in person, accompanied by his plenary portions controlling the Mahat Tattva. The Lord is everywhere in both the material and spiritual domains, and he appears for the sake of his devotees when there is friction between his devotee and the non-devotee. As electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere, the Lord, being all-pervading, appears because of the friction between the devotees and non-devotees. When Lord Kṛṣṇa appears on a mission, all his plenary portions accompany him. When he appeared as the son of Vasudeva, there were differences of opinion about his incarnation. Some said he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some said he is an incarnation of Narayan, and others said he is the incarnation of Kshirodakshai Vishnu. But actually, he is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇastu Bhagavan Svayam. And Narayan, the Purushas, and all other incarnations accompany him to function as different parts of his pastimes. Mahadamsa Yuktaha indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas who create the Mahat Tattva. It is confirmed in the Vedic hymns, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. Lord Kṛṣṇa appeared just like electricity when there was friction between Kamsa and Vasudeva and Ugrasena. Vasudeva and Ugrasena were the Lord's devotees, and Kamsa, a representative of the karmis and jnanis, was a non-devotee. Kṛṣṇa, as he is, compared to the sun. As he is compared to the sun. He first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki, and gradually he satisfied the inhabitants of the places surrounding Mathura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flower in the morning. After gradually rising to the meridian of Dwarka, the Lord set like the sun, placing everything in darkness, as described by Uddhava. Text 16. Mam kedyatye etad, mam kedayat yetad, ajasya janma, vidambanam yad vasudeva gehe, srajecha vasori, payad ivasvayam, paradvyad vatsidyad anantavirya. When I think of Lord Kṛṣṇa, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Vraja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear, all these bewildering incidents give me distress. Purport. Because Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa is the original person from whom everything and everyone has emanated, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, Bhagavad Gita 10.8, and Janmadasyata, Vedanta Sutra 1.1.2. Nothing can be equal to or greater than him. The Lord is supremely perfect, and whenever he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, a rival, or an object of enmity, he plays the part so perfectly that even pure devotees like Uddhava are bewildered. For example, Uddhava knew perfectly well that Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa is eternally existent and can neither die nor disappear for good. yet he lamented for Lord Kṛṣṇa. All these events are perfect arrangements to give perfection to his supreme glories. It is for enjoyment's sake. When a father plays with his little son, and the father lies down on the floor as if defeated by the son, it is just to give the little son pleasure, and nothing more. Because the Lord is all-powerful, it is possible for him to adjust opposites such as birth and no birth, power and defeat, fear and fearlessness. A pure devotee knows very well how it is possible for the Lord to adjust opposite things, but he laments for the non-devotees who, not knowing the supreme glories of the Lord, think of him as imaginary simply because there are so many apparently contradictory statements in the scriptures. Factually, there is nothing contradictory. Everything is possible when we understand the Lord as the Lord and not as one of us with all our imperfection. So thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 17 on Wednesday. Are there any comments or questions from the assembled devotees before we end?
Can I ask one thing?
Please, Dr. Suhu.
Like, tell me one thing, that knowing the things, like, take for the example, we know that bliss is something permanent, and bliss is something which we all try to acquire. But then also people, why they suffer and why they don't choose the path of bliss, and why do they come to the state of anger? And if even if you want to get rid of that state, but sometimes the situation is created and you are being trapped, and even if you do not want to choose the path of evil, but when you are within that atmosphere, is it something which you are doing right or wrong? Are you
So
getting my point? It's a
bliss
little confused.
bliss is only eternal when it's Sat Chidananda, when it's in relation to the Lord. So that's our constitutional position. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm just listening to you. Like, see, bliss is something we all are looking for. But then also we always create a state of unhappiness, and we want to live within that state of conditionality, knowing that that is not right, what we are doing. But still, we always look for a kind of materialism or some kind of desire, and do not want to leave that desire, and why these things happen. Namaste, madam. Namaste.
Can you hear me?
Pranam.
Yes, it's coming now.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, Dr. Suhu, I was able to understand what you were saying. So bliss is only permanent when it's Satchidananda, right? And that means when we're in relation to the Lord consciously, we're using our free will for that service. If we're still trying to get bliss from our own power, trying to manipulate our environment to our own favorable desires, that's not Ananda. That's something material. That's just bhukta. You know, there are the three things: bhukti, mukti, and bhakti. I'm phrasing it.
It's connection problem with here.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
It's here now.
I think some network issues.
Yeah.
Now I
problem.
can hear you. Now I can hear you.
Sorry for that. So our Guru Varga explains, especially Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj explains these three platforms as bhukti, mukti, and bhakti. So bhukti is when we are always seeking enjoyment for ourselves. Mukti is when we are renouncing everything. And bhakti is when we are seeking enjoyment for the Lord. So if we're in bhukti and then we're finding that in our pursuit of finding enjoyment for ourselves, our environment is not favorable for that, and so many things are coming to block our enjoyment, and then we're becoming angry because we don't get our way. I mean, that's just all karma, right? That's just a material entanglement because we still haven't learned our lesson. That's not surrender, that's nothing. That's just, we'll become a chipmunk next lifetime. That's what that means. If we're still doing like that. Next lifetime, we want to quarrel, then we become a squirrel, and we see squirrels quarreling on the side of the road so many times. So no problem, we can do that if we want, but we can also choose bhakti. We can choose to actually hear what the sadhus are saying. And that doesn't just mean going and hearing and then going back to our daily life and continuing to do what we did before. That's not hearing. That's not proper Shravana. Shravana means that our consciousness, we have actually been affected by what the sadhu is saying, and we're taking it seriously in such a way that our consciousness is changing. We don't want to continue to engage with the world in the same way we were before. And if we are engaging with the world in the same way we were before, then we haven't actually, we're not sincere enough, unfortunately. But if we are sincere enough, then we will change. We will see that necessity to change what we are doing, and we will listen to what the sadhu is saying, and we will do what that sadhu has said. We're not trying to look to control the environment. We can't control the environment. That's the whole point. We cannot control it. We have some small influence, but even when we exert our small influence, nothing is actually happening the way we think it's going to happen. So the only influence we have, influence means our free will, the free will to decide. The only influence we have is to choose Kṛṣṇa. That's the influence. And then everything else will happen according to his will. And once we're in that position of actually hearing what the sadhu is saying, actually doing what the sadhu is saying, then whether the environment, things are happening in a bad way in the environment or in a favorable way, it doesn't matter because we're already fixed. If we're not fixed, then the environment is always coming to affect us. If we're already fixed from inside, self-determination, as Hegel says, self-determination, if we're already fixed in our service, it doesn't matter. And actually, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying the environment, the Vaishnava is actually always seeing the environment as favorable. Even if there's somebody who is like being very harsh to us, we're thinking this is Krishna's mercy because this person is coming to give me an opportunity to just be humble. Srila Acharya Maharaj is always saying, oh, they are saying bad things about me. Actually, I'm worse than what they're saying. They don't even know how bad I am. They're being kind to me. So in this way, the Vaishnava's consciousness is always fixed in the proper idea and is always seeing opportunities to serve the Vaishnava. But they have to be very clear in that conception. They have to be very clear about what the Vaishnava has told them. And then they have to actually do that to the best of their ability. So in that way, that's how we can get real bliss, real Ananda, Satchidananda. Otherwise, it's not the real thing. And once we're in Satchidananda, then we can see everything as favorable. That's possible. But this is our goal. This is just a goal. I'm also saying these things to myself. So I'm very grateful for your question because I'm hoping to practice these things myself also, because I'm not also practicing perfectly. So I hope I can also do these things myself.
Yes, so nice of you, because I always believe there are certain kind of desire, but even if you try to have a good life or state of bliss, but there are sometimes some situation, and sometimes you are not able to make people understand what they are doing. as you said, that we all are trapped with some kind of materialistic desire, and maybe the only hope, the ray of hope is coming from the side of the bliss. And it always also give you some kind of unhappiness. As in case of my case, I'm telling you, I always practice not to disturb others and not to create problem for others, but not able to succeed. Always, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you are a part of that victimization, or a part of what you can say, accepting the, if you are in a wrong platform, and you even if you do not want, what you are there. So sometimes also that create unhappiness. And sometimes also, many times, why unhappiness is coming, and why people, they don't understand the simple logic of life, that the bliss. And that's a most powerful thing. But I
Srila
don't know.
Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj always said that my religion is only finding fault with myself. So
Yes.
if that is our consciousness and we are finding all fault with ourselves, any fault we see in the environment is actually only a fault within our own self. If we can actually think like that, then that will be very good for our spiritual life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Maharaj ki jai.
Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shridadev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Iskam Shanta Maharaj ki jai. Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Glories to the assembled devotees, or glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda ki jai. Jai Navadut Dham ki jai. Nishringapali Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju ki jai. Ganga Mahi Yamuna Mai ki jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham ki jai. Sham Kund Radha Kund ki jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi ki jai. Jai Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Jai Scientific Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Jai Srimati Uma Devi Dasi ki jai. Jai Dr. Sahu ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Hare Krishna.
Shri Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa Prabhu ki jai.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanavad Pranam.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you.